morning, everybody. My name is Dragana Mijatovic, and I am a global lead for Lean IT, Agile and DevOps at Quint. Now, it's a great time for Lean IT, Agile and DevOps. Most of our customers seem to be realizing that by applying these great methodologies, they can produce top quality products at blistering speed. I'm so delighted to have this event today, because all of these things, all of these great methodologies, processes, technologies, and ideas fall flat without one thing, and that is leadership. Leadership is the key for all organizational transformations. That's why I'm so delighted to have today these two distinguished, distinctive, and respected thought leaders. One of them is my colleague Niels Loader, and he is a content board lead at Lean IT Association and the chief examiner Lean IT at APMG, and Mike Korzen. Description is the following: a person who spent most of his professional life improving processes, applying Lean to information technology, and encouraging, helping people to achieve great results, but respectfully. And his customers include Nike, Google, Intel, I'm trying to remember them all, Conway, Abbott. At the same time, he's also a certified yoga instructor, and he's been medicating for over 30 years. And you'll notice that. And I wanted to say something about Niels as well. Niels just became a scout together with his son. So I think you will have a great morning. I wish you a wonderful time, lots of inspiration, and great takeaways. I'll give word to Niels.
Okay, thank you very much. No, I don't need it. They're going to turn me on. Well, welcome. It's great to see this room so full of people who are interested in discussing, because we will be looking into leadership, and we'll be discussing. We're hoping to make it a bit interactive, especially in Mike's session. I'd like to kind of warm you up with a situation sketch of where we are and where we're heading, and maybe what you need to do as well. I'm going to start you with kind of a classic Lean story. I mean, everybody knows Lean kind of came from the car industry, but I'd just like to take you through it, just because there are some very nice characteristics that we can find and learn from the car industry. If you look at how the car industry started, it started as this artisan bunch of people. Everybody had there were bicycle manufacturers who were making bicycles, and then all of a sudden they learned that, yeah, you could get this engine thing, and if you put 4 wheels and a kind of chassis, and then you put the engine in, you could get a car. So lots and lots of people, there were hundreds and hundreds of people producing cars. And every time they produced a car, they rolled it out of the garage and off it went, and then they'd produce the next one. And you know, the chassis would be 5 centimeters longer or a couple of centimeters wider, and they'd have to put new body work on. So there was a lot of learning going on. And what you saw was they were producing unique products with a kind of a very, very high level of skill. And it cost a lot of time and energy to get people to this level. Then around the 20s, I mean, we know Ford started putting together the mechanized production line. And this is what we call the mass production era. And the mass production era, it seems to be related to these production lines, but it's not actually that. The key to mass production is standardized products, specialism, and coordination. So deep specialization and coordination. Those are really the two key characteristics. And what you then see is that there comes this very, very, very short learning curve. So if you only have to put the rear left wheel onto a car, then you don't have to learn for a very long time. And that's really what this specialization and coordination is about. In 19 55, Toyota, coming out of the war, worked out that they needed to do things differently. Okay, and we had this Toyota production system that they started perfecting in the 50s, and in fact, the effect of the Toyota production system only started to really come clear in the 80s. So it took them 25, 30 years to actually get the full effect and the full profit of their endeavors. And that really led to lean production. Okay? And as of about 1990, there's a book that chronicles this called The Machine That Changed the World, which is a great read. It's a nice historical story about the car industry. You see that lean production becomes the only way to survive in the car industry. I don't know how many of you can remember car makes from the UK. I mean, truly English car makes. There aren't any of them anymore. They're all owned by other people. Why? Because England was one of the last places to understand that lean production was necessary. And before that time, most of the car manufacturers had died. So what's lean production about? It's about the flow of value. It's about making sure that we do have specialists, but they're generalized, that they can do multiple things, that we're creating multidisciplinary teams, and you have a slightly steeper learning curve than in the mass production phase. Okay, let's fast forward to our industry. We see exactly the same development. We see that we have our artisan phase up till, well, I've taken 1982 because that was when the PC came into being, into large use. We then went into our mass production phase, and I believe somewhere around 2010, if you look at what's been going on, we are actually moving into our lean production phase. Okay, what kind of artifacts do we have? Well, ITIL. ITIL is a fabulous artifact of the mass production phase. Okay? And it describes what needs to be done in our industry. And it remains relevant today because we do the same things. We will continue to solve incidents, unfortunately, hopefully less and less. We will continue to do changes. We will continue to do the things that are described. Only maybe we won't call them processes anymore. Maybe we'll just call them things we do. Somewhere around the turn of the century, you saw lean principles being applied to software development. In the end, that was given a name called Agile. But it's nothing more and nothing less than applying lean principles to a particular aspect of our IT organization. We then, later on, 2009, see this wonderful word, DevOps, turning up. Ah, DevOps, that's the new thing. Well, in fact, it's just a name. It's a name for what we do in lean production. Okay? And whether you want to call it lean IT, Agile, DevOps, I don't care. What we're doing is we are applying lean principles to our IT organizations, and we are creating a lean production and lean management system in our IT organizations. That's what's happening at this moment in time. And you are the lucky ones. You are the lucky ones who are allowed to take us through that transition. It's quite a responsibility, don't you think? I mean, if you look at it, the mass production world is coming to an end. You don't want to be the English car industry. You don't want your organization to be there. What you want is to help your organization to transition to a new way of working. And we're seeing a lot of organizations already making that step. There's some, I don't know whether the name Jez Humble means anything to you. He started off in the world of continuous delivery, wrote a few books, more recently contributed to the DevOps Handbook. And he's actually got into academic research, and he, together with Nicole Forsgren, they produced a couple of academic papers which are really quite interesting, specifically because there are some very simple little sentences in their research that have astonishing consequences. And the one I'd like to share with you is this one. So, IT performance positively affects organizational performance. Okay, that's academic speak for it's not the business that allows IT to perform well. What this says is if you have a poor IT organization, poorly run, your business will be poor. Your IT organization will drag your business down. Alternatively, and that's why it's been positively worded, if you have a high-performing IT organization, you have a very big chance that your business will become a high-performing business. And they basically prove this academically. So, again, do you feel that responsibility weighing on the shoulders? You know, you have the transformation to do. You have this responsibility that IT is really, really important for your organizations, for the survival of your organizations, and you are the leaders who need to make that happen. But you're already so busy. How are you going to find time? How are you going to get this done? You know, isn't lean IT something? Let's give that to the work floor. The same way that ITIL, the way we gave that to the work floor. We've got other things to worry about. I don't even know what benefits I'm going to get from lean IT. You know, you're telling me that it took Toyota 30 years to be able to prove their worth in the market. Yeah, but they've been proving it ever since, consistently, and that's quite cool. And yeah, lean IT, but what do I need to do? What do I need to do as a leader? What makes my world different? And these are things that I can imagine you're dealing with. One of the things, I have to get this off my chest. One of the things I hate most is the executive session. You know, the executive session, that's the 4-hour kind of quick kind of, hey, you know, I'll learn a little bit about this, learn the right words, and then I'll know what things to say. Let me take you back. This is the biggest transformation that's happening, that has ever happened in the IT world. Okay? The executive session isn't enough. You will need to spend time, dedicate yourself to understanding what the world is going to look like that you are actually helping to create. You will need to do that. Okay? So, yes, executive session if you just want to be aware, but don't think you know what's going on, you know, even after this session. We're going to give you a little bit of an idea of what kind of things you need to look at. But you're going to be embarking on a learning journey that will last you maybe even till the end of your careers. Okay, hopefully, in fact. We like to see people learning continuously. Okay, so let's start with that bottom question. What do you need to do as a leader? Well, one of the, as Dragan has said, I'm part of the Lean IT Association, so I'm going to do a little bit of a plug here for their stuff. There's a series of trainings, one of which is called the Lean IT Leadership Training, and I can recommend it to all of you just simply because it helps you to get a really good view in 3 days of what you need to be doing. And just the kind of real short version so that you can then go away and say, hey, I know this lean leadership stuff. Hey, I've seen the 4 things that I need to do. I know. So what we talk about in this training is that the first thing, it really starts with your own commitment. Your own commitment to self-development. Do you really want to learn stuff? Hey, do you really want to learn about lean IT, lean, how it's produced, how it works in an IT organization? And there are a couple of little tools. These are just 4 of them, but there are more tools to help you to create habits. Okay, the thing about this transformation is that we need to help ourselves to behave differently. So we need to have and create new habits. And this is difficult because we have these really cool old habits that fit like a glove and we love them so much and they help us every day. And now you're telling me I've got to do things differently or I've got to learn some new stuff. It's jarring. It doesn't work properly or it doesn't feel right. So it does take commitment, and what I've found in coaching leadership teams is that it helps if a leadership team comes together and does this together, okay? Because they help each other to make that step. Okay, so one of these tools is this thing called Leader Standard Work, and that's a way to just simplify what we do and do it more easily. Then comes the big one, the Gimble Walk. The Gimble Walk. This is this mythical thing that people have to, these managers have to go back down to the work floor and start talking to the people on the work floor. Oh, and what do we say to them? How do we do a Gimble Walk? So these are other things we need to discuss, but it's all about coaching and developing other people. That is the key. What we're trying to do is develop new leaders. New lean leaders who will be able to perpetuate the way we work. Okay. Another thing, continuously improve. Okay, great. This is something that we again think. Okay, well, the guys doing the work on the shop floor, well, they should be continuously improving. What do I need to do as a manager? Well, you certainly do need to do things. You need to be involved with creating new energy in the organization to make sure that people really want to change stuff, really want to improve things. And last but not least, your role is all about creating a vision and aligning those goals across the organization. And we have our really cool tool, visual management, for that. Some of you may know the word OBEA. That's the new buzzword that seems to be going around. Everybody's got to have an OBEA these days. Fine, if that's what you want, great. Whatever happens, just make your work visual. Also at a management team level. Okay, so let's just have a little look at these tools. So this is a nice little Gimble Walk. We've got some people sitting there, and we got a manager who likes to walk around. Yeah, this looks good. And I think we'll probably do that in about 45 to 50 seconds, and then we'll go back into our office and we'll be done. That's about right, isn't it? No, that's one of the things that you do need to get into the habit of doing is really going and looking and seeing what's happening. And it's one of the things I like to help managers to learn. And it seems like a lot of managers have just slowly but surely closed their view on the world. And when you do a Gimble Walk, when you get out there, all of a sudden, this world opens and you lose that feeling that politics is the biggest thing in your life. No, the work floor, all that cool stuff that's going on the work floor, that is really cool. It's really great. You know, especially because technology guys are doing, and ladies are doing fabulous things these days. It's really, really exciting. So as a manager, it should be fun to go down and see what they're doing. Okay? And what I've found is that a lot of managers actually do enjoy it a lot more. Problem is that they tend to go, initially they go too far and they start getting involved. They start saying, oh yeah, oh, I love that tool. Oh, show me how it works. Oh, I can do that as well. And that goes a little bit too far, but getting involved is good, and showing some interest in what people are doing is absolutely what we're looking for. So the Gimble Walk is an important artifact, but just that fact of going out there and having a look and not being obtrusive, getting in there and getting in people's ways, but just looking at what's going on, asking simple questions. Okay, those are things that we need to learn. The next one is driving continuous improvement. You must learn how to drive continuous improvement. Okay, and that means two things. That means, one, you need to understand a problem-solving mechanism. You need to know how people solve problems. And in Lean IT, we use DMAIC, which is a Lean Six Sigma tool, so anybody who's done a black belt in your organization will be able to talk to the Lean IT guys as well. But you, as leaders, need to know that as well, because you need to be able to train people in that. That's interesting, because as a leader, you are also a teacher. You're not only supporting and coordinating and showing people the way to go, but you also need to be able to teach them things, specifically the tools like problem solving. Okay? So what I find is that in a lot of organizations, you go in and you start talking to a manager and it's kind of, yeah, we're okay. You know, we're doing all right. And I'm like, do you have any problems to solve? Well, no, we're okay. But those guys over there and those guys over there, they're a disaster area. You know, they've got problems. Whoa. So then you go over and talk to the next manager along the line and you say, well, how are you doing? Do you have any problems that we need to solve? And again, it's the same message. No. We're relatively under control. But those guys over there, the one you just came from, they have huge problems. So we're able to tell anybody about problems somewhere else, but we're not always prepared to recognize them in our own area. And that's one of the key things that leaders need to do, is seeing and prioritizing problems. You need to be able to really see what those problems are and decide, am I going to actually try and solve this or not? Is it worthwhile? Okay, and then obviously solving problems, and then it's about sharing the lessons learned. This all costs energy, okay? And that's what you provide in your organizations, additional energy. That's what you are, okay? You know, basically, you are overhead. Okay? You're not producing stuff on the work floor. There's other people. So what is your responsibility in life? It's bringing in that new energy. It's making sure that people see that, yes, we need to improve. Yes, we have that impulse to actually do things differently. Okay? And that's what you bring on a daily basis. And I do mean every single day. Okay? Every single day, every interaction you have the possibility to stimulate people to take that extra step. Now, the funny thing about lean is it seems paradoxical, and it seems kind of counterintuitive, really. So we put a lot of things on the wall. And why do we put things on the wall? Because we want to look at continuous improvement, we want to visualize operational performance, we want to make sure that we communicate, and we want to be able to balance our workload. These are basic things that we do with visual management. Okay? The feeling is you're not going to get any more reports. Okay? So that monthly report, forget it. We're not going to produce that anymore, because it's all on the wall. It's all there. Okay? And the feeling that you may have is, hang on, but I'm losing control. I don't have control. I promise you, you have more control with visual management than you ever had before. You had an illusion of control with monthly reports. You have real control with visual management. Okay? Again, it's something that if you haven't experienced it, you'll just have to believe me, but try it. Get your teams to start putting their work up in a visual way so that everybody sees what needs to happen, and you'll find that as long as if they understand what's on the board and you understand what's on the board, you will have so much more control than you ever thought you could have. Okay, it's a fabulous, fabulous tool. And one of the things that you're trying to do with Lean, one of the essential things that we're trying to do with Lean, with Agile, with DevOps, is speed up our organizations. Okay, we're trying to produce things more quickly. And in fact, just sidestep to DevOps. You will, I think if you Google the definition of DevOps, you will find hundreds, maybe thousands. Okay, and they're all describing, well, it's this cultural thing, no, it's this automation thing, no, it's this performance thing, no, it's this process thing, and it's all about bringing dev and ops people together. Well, I choose to look at it in a slightly different way. For me, DevOps is the ultimate search for lean flow in your organizations. And flow is all about ensuring that work value is produced as quickly as possible, in the shortest possible amount of time, which means removing waste, removing waiting times, and focusing on doing the work that really needs to be done. Okay, so it's again, you see that DevOps, the fundamentals of DevOps is basically lean principles. Okay, so often we see that bosses want to go nice and fast. Yeah, faster, faster, faster. We need to go with speed. Let's get some speed into this place. And talking about cars again, Lee Iacocca, I think he's chairman of Chrysler, he said, well, the speed of the boss is in fact the speed of the team. If you can't get your teams to speed up, you can go as fast as you like as a boss, but it ain't going to work. Okay, you're just going to leave everybody behind. So it's all about focusing on how can we get our teams to move faster, how can we get them to work more efficiently together. That's the key that we're trying to focus on. And one of the things that you will need to do is think about what we like to call the change story. What is your reason for wanting this? Now you can say, well, Niels told me that there's this great transformation that we're going through, so we might as well do it. Okay? It doesn't seem to be something we can avoid. I'd rather prefer you kind of sit back and reflect and think, okay, where are we going to? What do we actually need? And creating that story for yourself, a personal story as to why you want your organization to take those steps and to really move forwards. Okay? And it means you're going to need to, look into Lean IT. There are a couple of cool books written by a guy not very far from here that can help you to gain a good view of how of where you can go and what you need to think about. Okay? But it's all, in the end, about an idea. It's about coming together. It's about bringing people together. And most of all, it's about doing things. Okay? We have a tendency to talk a lot, but with lean, agile DevOps, it's all about taking that next step. And maybe you'll take the wrong step. Who cares? It's just one step in the wrong direction. Take a step back, reflect, and move in the right direction. Okay? It's not that difficult. It's not rocket science. But it is something that keeps us busy on a daily basis. Now, as I said at the beginning, there is one really key deliverable that you have as leaders in your organizations, and that is your responsibility to create new leaders. So you should be looking around your organizations, finding the people who can take on your role, or even if they don't take on your hierarchical role, that they're at least taking on your leadership role at their level. Okay? Each team needs leaders. Each area where you're working needs leaders to ensure that work goes on even when you're on holiday. Okay? The key thing in the end is it's all about people. I mean, what a boring statement. We've heard that so many times. It's all about people, but it is. And getting people to do the things that you want them to do and getting them to really get involved, get engaged in their work is all about one thing. And that's the thing that Mike's going to talk to you about for the rest of this morning. It's all about leading with respect. And Mike's going to help you through his visions on this topic, and hopefully we'll have a nice interactive session about that. Mike, can I invite you to? Okay. Thank you.